Good evening, race fans, and welcome back for round 9 of the East Coast Formula One Championship. Today we're here for the Chinese Grand Prix at the Shanghai circuit. The circuit is 5.4 kilometers in length, or 3.387 miles, and a total of 16 turns. There is some high-speed sections, a couple long straights, some very technical ones. Turns 1 through 4 is definitely an exciting portion of the track. There's usually some bottlenecking and such. It'll provide some good wheel-to-wheel action early on in the race. It looks like it's quite overcast here for qualifying, so it should be interesting to see what the weather decides to do throughout qualifying and the race. It does have a tendency to rain here, so we will see if that is the case. It looks like the teams are just getting their setups ready. May have had to make some adjustments for the cool weather. According to the AlphaTauri garage, we do have a chance of rain in quali, and it's going to be a wet race. So prepare yourselves for some exciting action. Alright, looks like we got a couple medium tire runners. With it being a wet race, it's definitely, I'm thinking, your best idea to use some softs unless the mediums break in well here. It looks like we had an Alfa Romeo first out on track. That was Coleslaw. So he'll be the first one to set a lap. Behind him, McLaren and a Ferrari. Looks like the Ferrari's looking to get a bit of a tow. Sticking right close to the McLaren there, as the McLaren lets him by. Alright, Coleslaw coming down the back straight here, a very long one. Great overtaking opportunity once DRS is enabled, but with it being a wet race, I have my doubts that DRS will be a thing. Here comes around the final turn to start the first hot lap of qualifying. We'll stick on board the Alfa Romeo as he heads down into turn 1. He's coming up on a car just exiting the pits. Goes a little wide there, but manages to pick back up on it quick. Looks like he's coming up on another Alpine. Alright, as he exits turn 10, coming down into the quick left-hander. Executes his night. It's very easy to lose traction around turn 12 and 13 here. But he hangs on to it quite well. Uses a bit of the curb on the exit coming into the DRS zone. Heavy braking to the turn 14 hairpin. Alright, let's see what kind of a lap here Coleslaw is going to set. So the benchmark right now, DRS open, 1:33, 1:25 is the time to beat. Ryan Rods, 1:31, 4:25. Nearly 2 full seconds quicker than the Alfa Romeo. Labatt's just starting his hot lap. I can see another Alfa Romeo coming around. That is the Yuppie. Oh, as a Mercedes spins. Yuppie going third fastest, 1:33, 2:68. A little over a tenth behind his teammate. Looks like we got a spun Ferrari maybe. Or just a slow moving one. Silent Banshee 134.155. Good enough for P5 right now. And Hemi just starting his next hot lap. Williams ducking into the garage there. Can see an Aston Martin of detail coming across the line. P3 with a 132.994. Haas coming around. That is Hightower, P7. Yeah, he'll be looking for a better time there for sure. Nero coming across the line right behind his teammate. They were looking for a tow. Hash goes P2. Nero goes P4 with a 132.725. GSR Ryan will head into the pits. Yup, he's 4/10 up on his time. That'll move him into P4 with a 132.411. Rompanola looking to start another hot lap as he did invalidate. Here comes Hemi across the line. On the soft tires, good enough for P2, 131.506. 0.08 of a second shy of pole position. The Ferrari GSR Ryan Rhodes hanging on for now, but Hemi is in the hunt. We've got a retirement already. VTech. Hightower coming across the line, almost 3/10 up on his time. That'll move him into P9, just bumping his teammate down a notch. GSR Edgar just starting his next hot lap. We'll hang on board with the McLaren for a little while here as he comes through turns 1 through 4. This one is definitely, as I said before, one that's going to be exciting at the start of the race here and for maybe a couple laps after. Definitely a lot of cars bunch into that portion of track, and there's going to be some bumping for sure, especially with the wet weather. So it's going to be an interesting one to say the least. Unholy Red Eye lost it off track and he's into the wall. So that'll be the end of qualifying, unfortunately, for the AlphaTauri of Unholy Red Eye. He'll be starting potentially from the back of the pack. As Edgar comes through the sweeping right-hander, leading up to the back straight. Oh, there's that traction loss that I said is very easy to do on this corner. Even though it is banked, it tends to pull out the rear end of the car, so hopefully he didn't lose too much time there. We'll hop on board for the last couple corners. It's a tricky hairpin. Nice wide flicks it left into the final turn. DRS comes across the line. P3, 131.824. Provisional P3 for the McLaren, a GSR Edgar. Looks like we got LFR Psycho coming through the back straight, but he hasn't validated, so he'll need to take another trip around. Nobody on hot laps at the moment. As Edgar dives into the pits, possibly for a new set of tires or some extra fuel. That pit entry right there behind him is the same one that caught Lewis Hamilton out many years ago and potentially ruined his championship. But it's not gravel there, so no driver should have too much issue. Looks like Silent Banshee is just starting his next hot lap in the Haas. Currently sitting P11 with a 134.155. We'll see if he can improve on that. Fresh set of soft tires there. Try to make the most of the cold weather. Great exit there. Well, purple first sector for himself at least. So that is a good sign. Great line through there. As he comes onto the small straight leading up towards the back DRS sector. Heavy braking. Good job using all the curb. Finding loads of grip on those soft tires. Absolutely topping out that Haas. GSR9 rods improves on his lap. 131.196 is the time to beat. Silent Banshee comes across the line. Moves himself up into P8. That's a good jump there. 132.817 for the Haas. Alright, looks like GSR Edwin is trying another hot lap here. He's a few tenths up on his time. Oh, nearly loses the back end, but catches it. P5 to P3, 131.786. Couple of Aston Martins on there, hot laps, or out laps, my apologies. Neru bumps himself up in a P5, 131.9. For Neru, looks like we got a McLaren 3.4 and an Alpine 5.6 at the moment. The Mercedes, the GSR Rompanola coming across the line. I didn't see if he was up on his time. Flicks it left onto the pit straight. Good enough for P7, 132.2. As a couple cars file into the pits. Silent Banshee will follow along. LFR Psycho just trying to get another lap in. Oh, and he invalidated late, so he'll need to take another trip around. A lot of laps, unfortunately, for Psycho. Failing to set a time as of yet. And here comes the Haas of Hightower looking to improve at a P13. He does improve his time, but he doesn't move his position. Pair of McLarens coming into the pits. Looks like GSR Edgar will take another stab at moving up from P4. Alright, as GSR sets his purple second sector here, that is a good sign. Detail bumps himself up, I believe. Oh no, Jay Kelly, P13, 133.1 for the Aston Martin. Looks like we got a spun Mercedes. Labatt's having a little bit of grief back there. He was up on his time, but unfortunately that'll be the end of that lap for him. Back on board with GSR Edgar. Alright, currently sitting P4. Let's see what he does. P3 bumps his teammate down a spot by going 2/10 quicker. Ryan Rod's still hanging on to provisional pole. 1:31.196 is the time to beat. He's on an outlap right now. Hemi's in the pits. Detail going 9th fastest with a 1:32.5. 2.5 minutes left in qualifying here. A lot of cars out on track, so we'll see what comes of that. Looks like Jay Kelly's on an in-lap. Oh, never mind, just starting another hot lap. Oh, it looks like he bailed out, unfortunately. Might be nearly out of fuel. Tarmaniac just starting his next hot lap. Labatt's is currently 5/10 up on his time in the Silver Arrow. Let's see what he can do. Hangs on to P16. Alright, he's nearly 2/10 down. Hash just starting his final hot lap of the session, I believe. Hemi's going to get another hot lap in there. Oh, and GSR9 is was potentially looking to get a tow off of the AlphaTauri. Alright, Hemi setting a purple sector 1. That is definitely the trend he wants to see. Absolute pushing here at the end of qualifying. See another Mercedes coming across the line. That won't help him. Looks like we got a wrecked Haas back there. Hightower unfortunately lost it on the exit of the corner, busting a wheel off, so that'll be the end of qualifying for that Haas. His teammate, Silent Banshee, looks like he's about to come across the line. He's 2/10 down, though, unfortunately. So that'll do it for his qualifying session. GSR has invalidated. Looks like Hash, I didn't see if he was up on his time or not, but he's definitely going to come across the line and try to improve. P6 to P4 for Hash. Here comes Hemi. 3/10 up on his time. Nice wide exit. Power down, and he will steal pole position with a 1:30.898. Hemi under the wire, stealing pole position away from the Ferrari GSR Ryan Rhodes. Some fantastic action here to conclude qualifying for the Chinese Grand Prix. And that is your grid for the start of the Chinese Grand Prix here in Shanghai. Hemi taking pole position under the wire with a 1:38.98. GSR Ryan Rhodes will start on the front row with him. Second row is GSR Edgar and Hash. Third row goes to GSR Edwin and Niru. P7, Rompanola. P8, Yuppie. 9th goes to Detail, and 10th is Guitar Maniac. 11th, Silence Banshee. 12th, LFR Psycho. 13th goes to Sharia Coleslaw. 14th, Jay Kelly. 15th, Hightower. P16, Labatt's. P17, VTech. And P18, Unholy Red Eye, unfortunately, crashing out in qualifying, so he won't set a time. Looking to get that Driver of the Day challenge here, which will be an interesting one, as we are going to have a nice wet race, so it'll be nothing short of exciting. Oh yeah, the rain is coming down. So I imagine the times could have been slightly quicker in qualifying, but if the guys and their engineers worked this out properly, they would have all been using higher downforce setups to help with the rain during race day. So these guys look at their final setups figured out, fuel loads, etc., and they'll make their way out to the grid for the start of the race. We should be here, ready to go momentarily. Marshals and fans getting absolutely soaked. Alright, the countdown is on. And the cars are out on the grid for the formation lap. And Hemi leads us away. The two McLarens there have the outside line headed into turn one, so that may be optimal depending on the trajectory of the car on the inside line. Predictive pit stop strategies powered by AWS, an exciting 1 or 2 stop strategy for intermediate tires, so it's going to be wet the entire time. Having cars in the intermediates means that the track doesn't have too much standing water, so the lap times won't fall off too significantly, but that could change at any time if the skies open up. It's definitely still going to make for some interesting racing. coming down the very long back straight. All the cars trying to get some heat into those intermediate tires. They'll need all the help they can get for the race start and headed into the first few corners. Coming into the final couple corners as they make their way to their final stops on the grid ahead of lights out. Alright, Hemi makes his way up to the front spot on the grid here. He has the outside racing line. Alright, Unholy Red Eye brings up the final spot of the pack here. The cars get set. 3, 4 red lights, and 5. And it's lights out and away we go. We're racing here at the Shanghai circuit for the Chinese Grand Prix. And Aston Martin goes out wide. GSR right on the gearbox of Hemi. Oh, a little bit of contact there. Everybody making it through quite cleanly. Jay Kelly with a 5-second penalty for corner cutting. Very interesting one early on. Hash and GSR Rompanola are wheel to wheel and he outbrakes him. Oh, and he'll gain 2 spots. Jumps up on Niru as well. Oh, and he almost loses the back end. And contacts the Alpine in the process. Tries to go around the outside of Hash here. And he'll make up that spot. Nearly losing the back end again. The Mercedes of Rompanola having a bit of issue getting the power down in these wet conditions. This is definitely going to be a corner to watch. As Hash takes the inside line. Is coming up side by side with Rompanola. Oh, we have a spun AlphaTauri. Bringing out 5-second penalty for Edwin and Ryan Rhodes. For collision under VSC, looks like the front wing of Unholy Red Eye is gone. Unfortunately, had issues in that sweeping right-hander. So that'll be an early unscheduled pit stop for the AlphaTauri, unfortunately. As they go green again, he'll fall to the back of the pack again. Ooh, Hemi almost losing the back end there. He's got a 1.7 second gap to the Ferrari behind him, but Ryan Rhodes, or Rod, sorry, closing up that gap pretty quickly here. Oh no, and Silent Banshee lost it on the exit of the corner. So he'll fall down to P17. He'll have some ground to make up. Ooh, and VTEC almost losing it in the Williams. Looks like Hightower might have had a bit of a hiccup. Ash making up a spot. Oh, wheel to wheel with the Mercedes. A little bit of bumping going on here. And Hash will come out ahead in that battle. The McLaren right behind the Mercedes. Niru gets a spot on Edwin as well. McLaren and Mercedes wheel to wheel through the second last corner. Hemi and Ryan Rods swapping out fastest laps. 1:45.807 is the current fastest lap by the Ferrari. Edgar going a little deep there, losing a bit of time. Guitar Maniac right on the gearbox of the McLaren. Edgar trying to catch his teammate Edwin a few positions up. Silent Banshee heads into the pit, so Unholy Red Eye will make up a position there. Ooh, Hash right on the gearbox of Edwin here. Oh, he's getting sandwiched. That might have actually helped him. He gets the inside line on Rompanola. Oh, and some contact. The McLaren comes back. Rompanola is just in a battle. He catches the back end there. That could have been bad for the Mercedes. Detail a little bit of a slipstream here coming up on the Ferrari. Using up some ERS. He decides to back out. Oh, and Yuppie going down the inside. Oh, and Rompanola near. Oh, Yuppie loses it. Unfortunately, busts his front wing off, and that'll bring out a safety car. So that's a blessing in disguise for Unholy Red Eye and Silent Banshee, who had to make some early unscheduled pit stops. So Yuppie will come in for a brand new wing. Unholy Red Eye, but I'm not quite sure what he's up to. A little bit of technical trouble with the car, but he gets it going again. Looks like Hemi and Ryan Rods were out to a big gap there on the Alpines, but they'll close back up here in a couple laps. Three laps into the Chinese Grand Prix, and we have our first safety car. It was definitely bound to happen. Especially with the rain. This track claims some cars quite frequently, and the rain just amplifies that, that's for sure. Alright, looks like we have some spread out cars, so we'll probably need at least another lap or two before we can get back to green flag conditions. As it stands right now, Hemi still leading the Grand Prix, and GSR Ryan Rods not far behind in P2. P3 and 4 are the Alpines of Niru and Hash. 5th is GSR Edgar. 6th, the Ferrari of Guitar Maniac. Rompanola, P7. P8 goes to Detail. 9th is LFR Psycho, rounding out the top 10 so far is Jay Kelly in the Aston Martin. Coleslaw will sit in P11 for the moment in the Alfa Romeo. 12th is Labatt's. 13th is VTEC. 14th is Edwin. P15, the Haas of Hightower. P16, Unholy Red Eye, up from P18. The Yuppie sitting in P17 after an early stop for a front wing there, and Silent Banshee sitting in P18. And we'll be back momentarily. Alright, it looks like the pack has bunched up. So we should get a notification momentarily, I believe, that the safety cars should be coming in this lap. There it is there, race control confirms. The lights are off on the safety car. So Hemi is going to start backing up the pack any moment now. Hemi bouncing the AlphaTauri off the rev limiter. They're trying to get some fuel burned out of the system. Trying to heat up those rear tires. There he goes, getting a pretty good jump on GSR. Edwin gets by VTEC on the restart. Guitar Maniac trying to use the slipstream on Edgar. Hightower making a move on VTEC, and he gets by the Williams. Just into the braking zone. Good move by Hightower. Looks like Rompanola is looking to make a move here, but he does fall back a few tenths. Hemi currently with a 1.2 second lead on the Ferrari behind. Great restart by him. Edwin only 4 tenths back of the Ferrari, or sorry, the Mercedes, the Labatt's. With a good exit here. Oh, he looks down the inside, and there he goes, making the move up into P13. Labatt's will fall back into the slipstream here. He's closing him in a little bit, but he won't quite get there. Oh, and Unholy Red Eye goes a little deep, so he'll lose a couple positions, unfortunately. Oh, him and the Yuppie touch. 3 wide. Yuppie will split the two of them. And move up into P15. Silent Banshee will make up a spot on Unholy Red Eye there. Went a little bit deep and lost some traction off the racing line. Looks like he's trying to get that back, though. He's getting close to the gearbox of the Haas. Mercedes and Ferrari in a battle here. Oh, some contact. The Mercedes comes out ahead on this one. So Guitar Maniac will be looking to get that. Oh, and the Mercedes loses it. Whew, luckily regains it, only losing 2 positions. He's definitely had some issues keeping the back end planted on the Mercedes. And he loses it again. I'm thinking that they made some sort of setup mistake, unfortunately, on the Mercedes as he's about to lose another position to Detail. I believe the downforce might not be high enough, unfortunately, on the rear wing of the Mercedes, because he does have some severe rear traction loss. Looks like Edwin's going down the inside of Coleslaw. Coleslaw will go deep and he'll let him by. Hemi with a 1:45.441 is the current fastest lap here on lap 9. Oh, and VTEC unfortunately off track. 3-second time penalty for Hightower, and that causes another safety car in the same spot as Yuppie, unfortunately, a few laps ago. So VTEC will get a new front wing, a new set of inters, and get back out to join the pack. Hemi still leading GSR in second, Hash P3, Edgar P4. Your top 4 drivers so far. Hemi and Ryan Rods were out to a bit of a gap there. They were absolutely flying again. But we'll bunch back up and have another restart here in a couple laps time. looks like we should have at least one more lap under the safety car here. VTEC is closing in on the back of the pack. So by the end of this next lap here, we should be green, I believe. The safety car is in this lap. A little late there, but Hemi backs up the pack again. 5-second penalty to Guitar Maniac for a severe collision. And some more collisions near the back there as well. Hightower and Silent Banshee, unfortunately. Three cars head into the pits. Silent Banshee get a new front wing. GSR Ryan Rods, new front wing and a new set of enters. Unfortunately, he was in second position, but now he'll drop to the very back of the pack. GSR Evan in the hunt of an Aston Martin here. Getting nice and close to Jake Kelly, looking to make a move anytime now. Oh, locks up the fronts and nearly goes into the back of the Aston Martin. Oh, looks like we got a spun Mercedes. Ron Panola, unfortunately, again loses the back end. That'll drop him all the way down to P15. Oh, and almost a lockup. Jake Kelly goes way wide, so does Detail. But Edwin will make up a spot there. Right near the back of LFR Psycho and the Red Bull, burning up ERS. The McLaren is. Detail gets by Hightower, it moves up into P8. Oh, and Jake Kelly gets that inside line. gaps have opened up quite a bit on track at the moment here. Looks like LFR Psycho and VTech are the closest yet. VTech's looking to possibly get a little bit of slipstream here, but LFR Psycho gets a good exit on him. See, he'll open up that gap quite a bit, but then he'll close his on Jay Kelly. Burning up the ERS, as is Jay Kelly trying to defend. And he will. He'll hang on to P10 as the Red Bull slips back into the stream. Hemi 1:45.440. I believe that's 1/1000th of a second quicker than his previous fastest lap. Everyone burning up ERS. The Mercedes just can't quite do it, but he's going to try to outbrake him. Oh, and he overpowers his car, and he'll lose the spot to Ryan Rodds as well. The Mercedes just really struggling for grip today, which is majorly unfortunate because you know that car is quick. Oh no, did Hemi lose it? No way, the leader of the race. He'll move down to P5 with 14 laps to go. Oh no, and he outbrakes himself going into the pits. Right where Hamilton, unfortunately, buried his McLaren. So Hemi will lose quite a few positions, unfortunately, as he's down in P11. We've got a full course safety car. Labatt's with a drive-through penalty for speeding. And I'm assuming the issue was maybe Hemi's entry into the pits there could have been what pulled out the safety car. So he'll fall to the very back of the pack. Minus Hightower, unfortunately. But it appears that Hightower isn't a lap down, so he should be able to unlap himself. So that'll work perfect for the Haas. He gets another chance here on lap 15. So Hemi definitely has his work cut out for him. Currently sitting in P17 after losing it from the lead. few more drivers heading into the pits now. Or just coming out of the pits, sorry. So brand new tires. Quite a few drivers with brand new tires for their second stint of the race here. So it looks like Labatt's and GSR Edwin both have a drive-through penalty, so they can't serve that under the safety car. They'll have to wait till green flag conditions. So that unfortunately works out to probably about a 15 to 20 second penalty. So it looks like the Aston Martins are currently leading Detail in P1, Jay Kelly in P2. That is a good spot for those guys to be, with just over half, or just under, sorry, half the race remaining. Hightower is catching up as fast as he can, so we should be green in roughly a lap's time. Alright, we should find out momentarily if the safety car will be coming back in. It's been out for a few laps now. And it is, the lights are off. So Detail can start backing up the pack as much as he wants. As Bern Maylander gets the hammer down in the Mercedes safety car, headed back to the pits. Everybody trying to get their last little bit of heat they can into those intermediates before the start. Here we go, we are green. Detail pulls away with his teammate in tow. A good jump ahead of the Red Bull, but Jay Kelly will take the inside line and steal first position away from Detail. Labatt's and GSR Edwin do need to serve a drive-through penalty within the next couple laps. It looks like Hemi is closing in. Trying to make a pass on the Mercedes of Rompanola. Oh, and LFR Psycho was trying to go around the outside of Detail. Here comes Yuppie, and he'll make it past the Red Bull. Ooh, nearly contacts him. A close little train happening here. Hemi's right on the gearbox of the Mercedes. Oh, and he has to cut the corner a little bit to avoid contacting the Ferrari. Attempted a late break there, but couldn't quite get it done as the Mercedes pulls ahead again. Everyone burning up some ERS. The Alpine and Mercedes locking wheels there on Holy Red Eye. Oh, and GSR Edwin heads into the pits, as does Labatt's, to serve their drive-through penalties. The Aston Martins are still out front. Hemi wheel to wheel with Rompanola again. Oh, as they touch. Hemi's trying to hang on to that outside line. And he'll do it. He'll make it up into P14. As Rompanola tries to go down the inside. He can't quite get it done, and Hemi comes out ahead again. Edgar and VTEC in a little bit of a battle here. GSR in P11. Ooh, we got a spun Mercedes. That's Labatt's, unfortunately, on some cold tires after coming out of the pits. So he'll lose a bit of time there. Oh, Hemi's going to try to make two passes here. Gets by Ryan Rods and VTEC. But VTEC's using a bit of that slipstream. So they go three wide. Oh, and some contact. Ryan Rods and VTEC tangled up, and it caught Hemi as well. And the Ferrari is completely busted. The front wing has gone off the Williams. Hemi clips the wall going into the pits. Oh, and it reset him out to the track again. So he's going to need to make another lap around before he can get that front wing changed. It was a heck of a battle there coming down the back straight, but unfortunately ended in the worst way for the Ferrari of Ryan Rods. Some fresh intermediates and a new wing for the Williams. And he'll head out of the pit box. So as it stood a few laps ago, Jay Kelly in Detail currently in a P1 and 2 position for Aston Martin. P3 is the Alfa Romeo of Yuppie. Alpine hanging on a fourth with Hash behind the wheel. LFR Psycho, oh, Niru, severe collision with Unholy Red Eye, unfortunately, so that'll be a 5-second penalty. The remaining Ferrari, Guitar Maniac in P6, Unholy Red Eye P7, 8th is Niru, 9th Coleslaw, and 10th is Silent Banshee in the Haas. GSR Edgar in P11, P12 is the other Haas, driven by Hightower. Hemi has worked his way up to P13, but he will unfortunately probably lose a few spaces because he will need to pit. GSR Edwin in P14, Rompanola in P15, his teammate Labatt's in P16, and VTEC rounding out the grid, in the Williams. Alright, the pack is nearly caught up, so we may be racing on the end of this lap. So that'll be lap 22, so we'll have 6 laps remaining, I believe. 7 laps remaining. The Aston Martins are looking to get a great finish here, knock on wood. Looks like we may need one more trip around the track. Unless race control called... Oh, never mind. There we are, lights out. Safety car is in this lap, so Jay Kelly can do as he pleases with the grid. He'll start to back them up any moment now as they head down the back straight. So Hemi did get his brand new front wing on, so he's currently sitting in P16 as the grid weaves back and forth trying to get some heat into those tires. And Jay Kelly gets the hammer down, jumps out to a 1.2 second lead on his teammate. Looks like the Yuppies closing in on Detail, but he'll back out of it as they head into turn 1. Detail going a little bit wide. So Yuppie's going to try to pull that inside line, some contact with the Alpine. Bumpin's racing, as they say, and they're putting on a display of it right now. Hash is looking to close in on Detail, and he does. Makes the move. Detail's not giving up, though. Unfortunately, outbrakes himself, and he'll lose 2 positions, and the Ferrari Guitar Maniac is looking to make up on another. Hightower lost it, I think. So he'll bump down a few positions. Hemi in a battle with his sister team. Gets past LFR Psycho and the Haas of Hightower, closing in on the Williams of VTEC now. And he'll make the pass there. Hightower unfortunately spun. As he gets going, he's missing the left portion of his wing. GSR Edgar makes up a spot on Coleslaw headed down the back straight. That'll be an opportunity for Coleslaw to get a bit of a run. Oh, looks like Detail had a bit of an issue, so he's down from P2 to P11. Hemi making a good push, up a few positions since the start of the safety car. Hash went down the inside of Jay Kelly. Jay Kelly's trying not to back out of it, but he can't hang on to the line, and Hash will take the lead here on lap 23 of 28 in the Chinese Grand Prix. It's been a soaking wet one, and it's been nothing short of exciting. Lots of action. So we'll see how the closing laps go. It looks like we got a spun Williams. That'll be VTEC, unfortunately, missing that left portion of his wing. That'll be an unscheduled pit stop for the Williams, unfortunately. Hightower's in the pits right now, getting a new front wing and some fresh intermediate tires. Hemi's closing in on another victim here. He's on the gearbox at detail. Hemi's definitely putting on an absolute push, trying to make his way through the grid here. Oh, detail goes a little bit deep. A switchback from Hemi. And he'll get past Detail, although Detail's going to try to use that slipstream. Hemi weaving to break it. And he'll hang on to P11. Coleslaw making it by the Mercedes of Rompanola as he cuts the corner, unfortunately, and receives a 3-second time penalty. A little bit of contact there. GSR Edwin retires in the pits. Hemi's making a move on Labatt's here. He goes down the outside. Guitar Maniac is trying to catch Jay Kelly here. Hash has a 2.5 second lead on Yuppie in P2. Oh, we got a spun McLaren. Edgar almost collects a couple cars with him. That was a close one. Hemi trying to make up a spot on the Alfa Romeo of Coleslaw. Goes down the inside and he'll take P8. So Hemi is up quite a few positions. 8 positions, I believe, since the restart of the safety car. Detail looks down the inside of the Mercedes, but he'll back out of it. Looking to make a move maybe at the end of the pit straight here. He was looking down the inside again, but couldn't quite get there in time. Labatt's is going to carry a little bit more speed through the first 4 corners here, having that optimal line. Hemi's got Rompanola in his sights in the Mercedes. Takes a little tighter line, but can't quite get the move done. Also struggling for grip on the rear a little bit. He should have fresher tires, I do believe. Only by a lap though, so not a huge advantage by any means. Some great wheel-to-wheel action here in the Chinese Grand Prix. This is the 9th round of the 3rd season here in the East Coast Formula 1 Championship. Only a few races left to decide our Season 3 champion. Unholy Red-Eye is trying to defend against his teammate a little bit. Switchback, and Unholy Red-Eye loses 2 positions to Hemi and Rompanola, unfortunately. Guitar Maniac trying to use that slipstream to make it by Jay Kelly. Is he going to go for it? He won't. He'll see if he can't get some slipstream down the... oh, and some contact between Rampanola and Hemi. Unholy Red Eye takes the position back, though. So Unholy Red Eye trying to catch a bit of a draft from his teammate ahead, helping his battle against the Mercedes behind. Rampanola still closing in. He looks down the inside of Unholy Red Eye. And he gets the move done. Guitar Maniac still looking to get this move done on Jay Kelly to put him in a podium spot with only 3 laps, 2.5 laps remaining. Jay Kelly trying to break that slipstream, using ERS to defend. The Ferrari can't quite get there. Oh, he does look down the inside, though. Oh, and he loses some traction on the exit, so that'll give Jake Kelly that little bit of breathing room. Maybe not, though. So Ferrari goes around the outside and puts himself into P3. Guitar Maniac moves up into a podium position. Hemi with a 1:44.212, beating his previous fastest lap time by potentially a second. I don't remember if it was in the 44s or the 45s. But Silent Banshee makes a move on Jake Kelly as well, and Hemi is right behind him. Coleslaw with a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. So Jake Kelly will lose 3 positions, unfortunately. He's on some old intermediate tires. He was looking to maintain track position by not pitting, and that could have potentially been the cause of the pace loss. 1.5 laps remaining here in the Chinese Grand Prix. Hash is leading currently for Alpine with a 3-second gap to Yuppie in P2. And Guitar Maniac with a late move there on the Aston Martin bumps himself up into P3, but he's under attack by Silent Banshee, and Hemi actually is right behind the Haas, looking to get some slipstream down this back straight here. Silent Banshee doing a great job of defending. Hemi can't quite get there. Detail on the bats. Detail breaks late and gets by the Mercedes. Also tries to make a move on Coleslaw, but can't quite get it done. Oh, looks like Hemi's making a move on the Haas. Little bit of contact there as they go into turn 1. And it looks like the AlphaTauri will block the Haas and move up into P4. This is the final lap of the Chinese Grand Prix. Hemi is on an absolute push trying to catch the Ferrari. Can he do it with only about 8 turns to go? He's under a second behind, 7/10 to be exact. Guitar Maniac is pulling out all the stops, using up all the ERS that he can. He's going to need to save some for this last straight here. Hemi is right on the gearbox on him. He's going to need a really good exit here. Detail spun. We gotta watch this. Oh no, and Hemi gets a great exit. They're in an absolute drag race into the final hairpin. But Hemi has the inside line, which is optimal when it comes to this portion of the track. Can Guitar Maniac get him? And Hemi got an absolute superb exit, and Hash wins the Chinese Grand Prix in spectacular fashion with the Yuppie in P2. And Hemi in P3 is absolute pandemonium with cars crossing the line. Unholy Red Eye will bump a few spots down, unfortunately, for an unserved penalty. What a race. Tons of action in the closing laps. As Nero comes around the final few corners to take home P14 as well for Alpine. Setting a purple third sector. Great job by him. Hightower, only a couple more corners to go. Comes around on the pit straight. And he will cross the line in P15 for Haas. VTEC comes around the final corner in the Williams to take home P16. Also in spectacular fashion. And your driver of the day goes to Jay Kelly in the Aston Martin. Fantastic race by these drivers today. A little bob and weave from Hash. And there you have it. Your winner of the Chinese Grand Prix here is Hash, driving for Alpine. Joining him on the podium is Yuppie and Hemi. Hemi taking the fastest lap with a 1:44.212. A great recovery drive from essentially the back of the pack. Guitar Maniac in P4. P5, Silent Banshee. P6 is Jay Kelly. 7th goes to Rampanola in the Mercedes, followed by his teammate Labatt's in P8. LFR Psycho will take home P9 for Red Bull, and 10th is GSR Edgar in the McLaren. Coleslaw take home P11. 12th goes to Unholy Red Eye. 13th is Detail. 14th is Niru in the Alpine. 15th is Hightower. 16th goes to VTEC. And a couple of retirements, unfortunately, in GSR Edwin and Ryan Rods, as we saw him get tangled up with a few drivers early on. And that'll do it here for the Chinese Grand Prix Round 9 of the East Coast Formula 1 Championship. Be sure to join us next week as we head back to Italy for the legendary circuit of Imola. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you again.